healthcare.
Price of education, price of healthcare, these are the real issues.
Rahul Gandhi targets India abroad. Claims India no longer a fair place.
India today, in terms of its treatment of Dalits, tribals, poor people, minorities, is not a fair place.
Mocks scepter's pride a place in parliament.
BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing.
Has Rahul crossed a national line? Our top focus on 6 p.m. Prime with Shiv Aroor.
Rahul Gandhi in the United States now. The Prime Minister will be headed to the United States in a few days from now. There isn't an election in sight for the next few months, but 2023 is an election year. Make no mistake, less than a year to go now for the big one in 2024, with 4 big elections at the end of this year as well. It's all about who's going to the vote and who's most appealing. I'm Shiv, this is 6 p.m. Prime. We're going to tell you how Rahul Gandhi has gone viral from San Francisco over his attacks on the Prime Minister. First thing. Prime Minister Modi's biggest attack on the opposition, especially the Congress, over parliament boycott, says national pride is used for selfie politics.
इनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके भ्रष्टाचार पर, इनके परिवारवाद पर सवाल क्यों खड़े कर रहा है।
Allahabad High Court dismisses Muslim side's plea challenging maintainability of Hindu side plea seeking right to worship inside the disputed Gyan Vapi mosque. This is a big win for the Hindu side. No incriminating proof found on World Wrestling Federation of India boss. Delhi police sources say the cops may file a probe report in 15 days. Brij Bhushan Sharan dares, will hang myself if proof is found.
मुझ पर आरोप लगाने वालों, गंगा में मेलर बहाने से बृजभूषण सिंह को फांसी नहीं मिलेगी।
Mamata Banerjee stages protest to back wrestlers, accuses Modi government of non-action because accuses Brij Bhushan is a BJP MP. India's growth story is booming. GDP growth for financial year 23 at 7.2%. Fall in manufacturing, industrial and mining sectors, but services and farming sectors revival boosts economic growth. India Today South Conclave 5th edition kicks off tomorrow. It's a 2-day summit in Thiruvananthapuram, saluting the powerhouse of India and God's own country, analysing the present and the future. Star-studded lineup as always. Prime Minister Modi has just declared campaign open for big election year. This year as well as next year. The Modi attacks on the Congress and the opposition were part of a 37-minute speech delivered from Ajmer, being interpreted as a declaration of war and the beginning of election season. It was to mark 9 years of the Modi Sarkar, but is being seen as a line in the sand. From now onwards, India is in a state of war until 2024. The Prime Minister hit out at the new parliament boycott by the Congress and the opposition. He also talked about how the Congress has always insulted India's emotions. An oblique reference perhaps to what Rahul Gandhi has been saying in the United States today, which we'll get to you in just a moment. But first, the big attacks by the Prime Minister.
भारत को नया संसद भवन मिला है। कांग्रेस ने भारत के गौरव के क्षण को भी अपने स्वार्थी विरोध की भेंट चढ़ा दिया। कांग्रेस ने 60,000 श्रमिकों के परिश्रम का, देश की भावना और आकांक्षाओं का अपमान किया है। 60,000 मजदूरों के पसीने को उन्होंने लात मारी है। उनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके अहंकार से आगे आड़ा कैसे आ रहा है। 2014 से पहले पूरे देश में जनता भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध सड़क पर उतरी हुई थी। कांग्रेस सरकार सीमा पर सड़कें बनाने से भी डरती थी। प्रधानमंत्री के ऊपर सुपर पावर थी। कांग्रेस सरकार रिमोट कंट्रोल से चल रही थी। जब संकट हल करने में, पानी से जुड़ी चुनौतियों को समाप्त करने में कांग्रेस सरकार कभी आगे बढ़कर काम नहीं करती। कांग्रेस को सिर्फ झूठ बोलना आता है और आज भी कांग्रेस यही कर रही है।
But the comment by Rahul Gandhi in San Francisco that has gone completely viral, inviting praise from his supporters and attacks by his detractors, is where he referred to Prime Minister Modi prostrating himself in front of the Sengol right before the inauguration of India's new parliament. Everyone remembers this image. Millions of people across the country saw it live. This was where the Prime Minister paid obeisance to the Sengol, that sacred ornament that dates back to the Chora's insignificance, that was relocated from Prayagraj, from the Nehru Museum there, and installed in India's new parliament. Well, this was a sacred gesture that many people admired, but Rahul Gandhi decided that this was fair game for an attack from a speech in San Francisco. Here's what Rahul Gandhi said about the Prime Minister's act of prostrating himself in respect to the Sengol. Here's what Rahul Gandhi said.
These are distractions. The real issues in India, BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing.
It's been 3 days since Prime Minister Narendra Modi placed the Sengol or the scepter in the newly unveiled parliament. But there is no end to politics over Sengol. Rahul Gandhi has launched fresh salvos at the Modi government from American soil, calling the ritual at the parliament opening a distraction from the real issues. Rahul Gandhi mocked Prime Minister Modi for prostrating before the Sengol.
The Parliament House, these are distractions. The real issues in India are unemployment, price rise, spread of anger and hatred, crumbling education system, price of education, price of healthcare. These are the real issues. BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing, lying down and doing all that. So, aren't you happy I'm not lying down?
The BJP is breathing fire. Launching a counter-strike at Rahul, the BJP has accused him of insulting Indian traditions and culture on foreign soil.
भारत की धाक और मोदी जी की धमक पूरी दुनिया में बढ़ती है तो इस घमंडी घराने के घोचू घरौंदे की सनक पड़ जाती है। आज कैसे ये एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, स्वीकार नहीं कर पा रहे हैं कि दुनिया क्यों कह रही है कि मोदी जी ने ये साबित कर दिया कि डेमोक्रेसी कैसे डिलीवर कर सकती है। आज दुनिया ये क्यों कह रही है कि दुनिया की मोदी इज बॉस। तो इनको तो लगता है कि जो डायनेस्टी है वही डेमोक्रेसी है।
Rahul Gandhi has not done this for the first time. Last time he wanted foreign intervention into Indian soil. Today he's mocking Indian culture, Indian institutions. This man has time and again made claims and his hypocrisy should be called out. Today he talks about Dalits when the highest number of atrocities on Dalits is taking place in Rajasthan. He talks about tribals when the leader from his party said Rashtrapatini for our first tribal president. Today he talks about Muslims. The biggest riots against Muslims took place under the Congress government and they have done nothing about it. He talks about Sikhs when he has Jagdish Titler in his party. This is the double speak of Rahul Gandhi.
Lying down and doing all that.
Rahul Gandhi's his attacks on Modi were not limited to Sengol. He also accused India of being an unsafe place for the minorities, specifically for Muslims.
One more question.
As the Congress party, to make India a fair place. And we understand deeply that India today, in terms of its treatment of Dalits, tribals, poor people, minorities, is not a fair place.
Rahul's claim was countered by the All India Imam Organization chief.
जिन्होंने मुसलमानों की राजनीति करी, मुसलमानों को डरा के रखा, मुसलमान न डरा था, न मुसलमान डरा है, न मुसलमान डरने वाला है। मुसलमानों के नाम पर जो राजनीति हुई, अब मुसलमान समझ चुका है कि हमें इस्तेमाल किया गया, हमें डराया गया। तो मैं समझता हूं कि जिनको डर है खुद का, वो दूसरों को डरा रहे हैं।
The BJP too slammed Rahul, accusing him of defaming India whenever he goes abroad.
राहुल गांधी जी की हर विदेश यात्रा भारत का अपमान करने में कहीं पीछे नहीं रहती, और इस बार की प्रायोजित ये विदेश यात्रा भी उसी दिशा में है जहां वो अपमान तो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अंत में देश का अपमान करने से नहीं हटते।
Rahul even accused Modi of playing God.
I think if you sat Modi ji down next to God, Modi ji would start explaining to God how the universe works.
With the BJP going all guns blazing at Rahul Gandhi, political temperatures are rising ahead of a long election season that will end with the ultimate battle of 2024. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, here are some of the previous occasions in which Rahul Gandhi has indulged in political attacks during foreign visits. In 2023, earlier this year only, in the United Kingdom, Rahul Gandhi had famously said there is no concept of the opposition in India. Well, this is something that hasn't aged well, of course. The Congress has won a handsome victory in Karnataka. The BJP and the RSS are infiltrating our institutions, he said. Our mics are switched off in Parliament, he said. Last year in the United Kingdom, once again, Rahul Gandhi said the soul of India is under attack from the BJP. India's voice is crushed under Modi. The CBI and the ED are chewing the Indian state like Pakistan. 2018, when he visited the UK and Germany, a year before the Congress's second big defeat at the hands of the BJP, he said Modi misuses public resentment over issues. He said Modi takes anger and uses it to damage India. Modi rides on inability to solve the unemployment issue. 2018 in Singapore, Rahul Gandhi had said the general atmosphere of intimidation in India now exists. Politics of division has been played to win elections. He said the idea of plurality and freedom is challenged now. So that's just a very spare sampling of the kinds of things that Rahul Gandhi has been saying ever since his Congress party lost power in 2014 and then again in 2019. The big fight has begun now for 2024. As we know, this is not the first time Rahul has chosen to attack the BJP, the Prime Minister, and what he thinks is a deteriorating atmosphere in India while on foreign soil. Listen in.
You bypass the entire Indian institutional structure. You demonetize the economy. The world is stunned. People just are like, what happened? And I mean, the shock is so extreme, people can't comment on it. Economists can't comment on it. It takes them a week to figure out actually what has been done. And then you realize the RBI wasn't spoken to. The finance minister didn't know. The cabinet was locked up. And the idea came from the RSS directly into the mind of the Prime Minister. That's not maximizing India's power. India's power is its institutions. India's power is its democracy.
There is a systematic attack on the institutions that allow the conversation to take place. Right? There is a crushing effect on all these institutions. There's an attack on the Constitution. There's an attack on the election system. There's an attack on the broad institutional framework of the country. And the result is that India is no longer, the states of India are no longer able to negotiate. They're no longer able to talk. Maybe giving ladies gas cylinders or giving people bank accounts is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But that sort of misses the point, right? Because in my view, Narendra Modi is destroying the architecture of India. So I'm not too bothered about 2 or 3 good policies that he's doing if he's blowing my country to smithereens or our country to smithereens, right?
Meanwhile, a big endorsement of India's rise under the Modi government. Global financial powerhouse Morgan Stanley, timed with the 9th anniversary of the Modi government, has hailed India's success story in the last 10 years. The latest Morgan Stanley report highlights 10 big transformations in India and their impact on how India has transformed in less than a decade, stating how this current India is different from what it was in 2013. The Morgan Stanley report, accessed by India Today, defends the top-performing Indian stock markets over the past 25 years and highlights 10 significant changes that have taken place in India in the last 9 years, specifically because of policy changes since 2014. Let's go straight across to Business Today. Sakshi Batra, my colleague, joining us live on this story. Sakshi, Morgan Stanley hailing India's growth. They've also, marked out and identified 10 of those pleasure points, those transformative points as far as India is concerned under the Modi government. What worked?
Well, that's right. Morgan Stanley in its latest report has mentioned how India is a different country from what it was back in 2013. Morgan Stanley's report cites 10 big changes that have been brought in the last decade that has helped India in gaining positions in the world order. Now, the first thing that they've mentioned in the report is the supply side policy reforms that have been undertaken. Also said that India's corporate tax, which has become at par with the peers, that has helped in the country's progress. The infrastructure, which has picked up pace in the last 8 years or so, it has cited tremendous growth in the incremental infrastructure projects like the national highways, broadband subscribers, renewable electricity, electrified railway routes that have really kicked up progress and contributed to the GDP. The report also cites how formalization of economy has been taken place after the GST reform was undertaken, also with the GST collections which are on an upward trend, and with the latest figures at record highs of over 1.8 lakh crore rupees, the rising proportion of the digital transactions now as a percentage of the GDP. Remember, back in 2016, the digital transactions in India were just about 4% of the entire GDP, and today the figure stands at 76.1% as of the last financial year. Now, the report also mentions the rising direct benefit transfers to the beneficiaries over the years that has also helped the country progress. The report has also praised India's focus on foreign direct investments. We are seeing most of the sectors today which have allowed easy access to foreign direct investments today. As government support for corporate profits, the report also mentions how MNC sentiment is at a multi-year high, with India really outperforming China on this sentiment. It also cites how India's service export market share has accelerated, resulting in offshoring boom as well. In short, the report says manufacturing and capex as a percentage of GDP will increase steadily by roughly about 5% by 2031. It says the export market share could double to 4.5% by 2031, nearly 2 times from the 2021 levels as well. It also mentions how India will drive a fifth of global growth in the next decade, and India's next decade will resemble China if 2007 to 2011. It also mentions how GDP and productivity growth differentials will swing in India's favor going forward from here. It predicts a major shift in consumption basket, with India's per capita income increasing from $2,200 to about $5,200 by the year 2032. Now, Morgan Stanley has also predicted a profit boom, saying that the shares of profit in GDP has doubled from all-time lows that were hit in 2020, and they're all set to rise further, maybe even double from here on, leading to strong and absolute relative earnings of corporate India. Now, India's resilience on the global capital market flows has also reduced. It mentions how market sensitivity to US recession and US Fed rate changes have seemed to now fade away.
And that
Morgan
is good
Stanley
news,
has
yeah.
also predicted an unprecedented growth in financial services in
Yes.
India till 2032 and an energy boom along with the discretionary spend being on the horizon. However, the report has warned of key risks, a key risk being fragmented general election outcome in 2024 that could impact the predictions, and also the impact of a global recession if it deepens or elongates for long, and rising commodity prices, which may be a key watch from here.
Risks are there. India can do a whole lot better, but this is a very strong footing. Remember, compared to many other economies and countries, India has emerged on a very, very solid and strong footing. There are many key lessons to be learned as well, and India has been learning them and will no doubt do better in the next financial year as well. We're taking a quick break. Sakshi, thank you very much for that. On the other side, Mamata Banerjee has put her shoulder to the wheel with the protesting wrestlers. She's joined a protest for them in Kolkata. We'll take you live right after this break.
India Today Conclave South 2023, India's biggest ideas fest. Listen to Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister Kerala, Mallikarjun Kharge, Amitabh Kant, Kamal Hassan, Rana Daggubati, P. Chidambaram, Asaduddin Owaisi, K.R. Suresh Reddy, K. Annamalai, Srinivas B.V., Justice Korean Joseph, Justice Jasti Chelameshwar, and many more. Book your seat now. IndiaTodayConclave.com/South.
Patricia, do you believe that this is a straightforward Meitei versus Kuki battle between two tribes and their militant outfits? Or do you believe that there is politics being played with various groups being supported by one political side or the other? Reports that some of the Meitei groups, for example, have been armed, Kuki groups have been armed, all of them getting these arms from police stations?
It's not such a straightforward thing what is happening in Manipur, and that's why we had said that there is need for a very, very independent inquiry to first get to the root of the matter, because there's too much of point and counterpoint, too much of finger pointing. And yes, this time it is a direct conflict between the Kukis in the hills, the Kuki, Zomi, Paitai groups, and the Meiteis in the plains. And of course, the trigger was that ST status for the Meiteis. But there have been a lot of underlying reasons for the unrest, and these have not been dealt with. They've been kept on hold. They've been politicized. And for instance, my point is that the tribes everywhere in every other state have some kind of self-governance mechanism. You have the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which allows the tribes, especially those, in states which are ruled by non-tribal majority governments, to have their own sort of autonomy in governance, so that they're able to bring development, which is very nuanced, which is at their own pace, and which can develop institutions. For instance, I think the best example is the arrangement with the Bodoland Territorial Region.
Are you saying that the Kuki should have their own self-administered region? Are you saying that that is a solution?
It is part of the solution, because that is their demand. They have what we call the Hill Areas Council, but those Hill Area councils have not been empowered enough. They don't have a budget. They're not able to sort of carry out any development in the hill areas where they are. So they have been asking, they've boycotted elections, they've done many things in the past, but it's still, under 371C, it hasn't improved matters at all.
Breaking news coming in. Mamata Banerjee has joined the protest march, this time in Kolkata, in support and solidarity with India's champion wrestlers. This is a protest that she is leading in Kolkata. The Mamata government is in solidarity with the wrestlers who've been protesting in India's capital, Delhi. Mamata has just said the Modi government is not arresting the accused Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh as he is a BJP leader. Mamata plans a candlelight march in solidarity with the wrestlers in Kolkata tomorrow.
हम कल कुश्तीविद के साथ बात किया है। मैं साक्षी जी, जगदीश जी, जगदीश जी जो थे, इन लोगों के साथ मैं खुद बात किया। मैं ये कहा कि आप लोग लड़ाई करें, हम आपका साथ में हैं। इसी के लिए आज का रैली हुआ, कल भी प्रोग्राम होगा और जल्द होगा तो हमारा एक टीम जाएगा। हम पहले भी हो जाएगा, हमारा टीम जाएगा और उसको थोड़ा मंच में मिलके उसको हमारा सपोर्ट देंगे।
I want to go across to India Today's Ritik Mondal live with us from Kolkata. Ritik, protest today, candlelight march tomorrow. Could Mamata Banerjee be heading to Delhi to physically show solidarity with the wrestlers as well?
Well, that's right, Shiv. It's a big support for the wrestlers who were protesting in national capital. And today, the day after Mamata Banerjee spoke in the solidarity of wrestling stars of India, and TMC took out a rally in the streets of Kolkata. Midway, Mamata Banerjee joined, and she's lashed out at BJP, stating that the accused is not being arrested as he is the leader of BJP leader, and TMC, as far as TMC is concerned, she plans it big. Tomorrow, Mamata Banerjee and TMC will also stage a candlelight march in the streets of Kolkata, right at the statue of a great footballer Goshto Pal in Kolkata. And she also spoke to the wrestling stars who were manhandled in the streets of national capital. And while addressing the media, she also gone on record that she will send her own team to the protesters to show the solidarity. And she also gone on record that this protest and the sympathy and the support from Trinamool Congress, and it will be a big support from Trinamool Congress as well, will continue in coming days. So in coming days, we will be seeing that Mamata Banerjee and her party leader will be reaching to the protesters, and it was a big showdown as of now. What we did see this afternoon when Mamata Banerjee hit the street, showing the solidarity for the wrestlers. Tomorrow once again, she and her party men will stage candlelight march in Kolkata, and it will be open for protest. She calls all citizens of
Ritik,
Kolkata
thanks very much for that. Thanks. We're out of time on this segment, but thanks very much for getting us that live report from Kolkata. We'll have to see. Candlelight march next. Will Mamata Banerjee, will Didi head to the national capital after that to be with the wrestlers? Let's see. Right now, it's a remote show of solidarity from the capital city of West Bengal. Very quick break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Up next, a big international story that's gone viral. Two of America's most iconic brands, Bud Light, the beer brand, and Target, one of the biggest retail giants, have both bled billions of dollars after marketing decisions to partner with transgender and pride LGBTQ activists and merchandise. What happened? What explains this? We'll try and piece it together next.
For the current year, for the year that has just ended, that is 22-23, the estimates are that it will be 7%. But there is a possibility that it could be even more.
The governor of the Reserve Bank of India himself giving the good news last week that the GDP growth estimate for financial year 2022-23 will be better than expected. The RBI had forecast a 7% growth rate against the much more guarded forecast of world bodies like IMF and the World Bank. However, a State Bank of India report released last week hiked the estimate to 7.1%. According to the report, the pickup in the economy in the fourth quarter, January to March, has been more energetic than earlier estimated.
It initially appeared in the third quarter that there was a pent-up demand which was supporting economic activity. But all the economic indicators in the Q4 of last financial year, they show that economic activity sustained momentum, and in fact all the fast move high frequency indicators, about 70 of them which we monitor in the Reserve Bank of India, almost in all of these high frequency indicators the momentum was maintained in Q4. So therefore I will not be surprised, we should not be surprised if the growth is slightly more than 7%.
What has turned the tide for the economy from the post-COVID gloom is a clutch of factors, including a rebound in the agriculture sector, a stellar performance by services export, a pickup in capex in infrastructure, a rise in private investments particularly in the steel and cement sector, capacity utilization in manufacturing exceeding 75% and a nearly 16% growth in bank credit. There are some lingering concerns as well, which include continued geopolitical uncertainties, global inflation, which is still high in several countries, fears of contraction in world trade and a resulting dip in merchandise exports, and the possible impact of El Nino on the agriculture output.
While the centre in fact expects that there could be some change in the absolute numbers, but that will be a negligible change when you look at the whole figure of the GDP percentage. It clearly looks that the growth story of India is being looked into from a big angle, with inflation coming down in the last few months and manufacturing and services industries doing well. The centre is hopeful of a successful upcoming story for India's economic growth. Karishma Sadani for Business Today Television.
Quality today. In Delhi, 99. In Mumbai, 78. In Kolkata, 136. In Bangalore, 69. In Chennai, 144. In Hyderabad, 74.
Two of America's biggest brand, Bud Light, which is America's best-selling beer brand, and Target, one of America's largest retailers, have both bled billions of dollars in the last few weeks, thanks to both companies separately making marketing and advertising and merchandising choices which involve partnerships with transgender activists or showcasing LGBTQ clothing, including for children. The backlash has been brutal in terms of sales, in terms of market value loss. This is what happened. And remember, these are two of America's biggest, most iconic brands. Take a look.
It used to be one of America's top-selling beer brands. But now, Bud Light has taken a catastrophic 30% hit to its sales, with its iconic blue six-packs piling up and unsold in outlets across the United States. The reason? Budweiser's decision to partner with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney in an effort to expand its market and target a younger, so-called woke demographic.
So I recently told my parents that I may be a little bit romantically interested in women. And that was a big shock for them, considering the past 10 years of coming out as gay, then queer, then non-binary, then trans. And
Mulvaney, a TikTok star with millions of followers, is famous for detailing her gender transition in a series of videos that have garnered a massive audience. But the decision by Budweiser's parent company, the second largest alcohol corporation on earth, to partner with Mulvaney has so far cost it a staggering $15.7 billion and counting in value.
But it turns out it has something to do with sports.
But Bud Light isn't the only brand that's gone flat thanks to its branding choices. American retail giant Target has also lost a shocking $15 billion in value in just 10 days after it unveiled a line of LGBTQ-friendly kids clothing, including swimsuits for trans women who haven't yet had gender-affirming surgery. The backlash in terms of monetary loss, a loud and angry online campaign, and threats to staff forced one of America's best-known retail chains to pull back the merchandise and rethink its entire decision to showcase pride clothing for children. Two of America's most iconic brands that have together bled billions owing to a single marketing decision. Analysts see this as a validation of the power of America's so-called anti-woke movement, a system of thought that has come down particularly hard on a culture that sees it fit to bring children into the LGBTQ sphere. In India recently, Starbucks was both praised and abused in equal measure for its advertisement featuring a trans woman seeking the approval of her father. But unlike Target and Bud Light, there is no data to suggest that Starbucks has paid any price.
3 cold coffees for Arpita.
Bureau Report, India Today.
Since 2017, the India Today group has been bringing you the India Today Conclave South. This year, the two-day conclave takes place on the 1st and 2nd of June in Thiruvananthapuram. Here's a look at the showstoppers of the two-day conclave coming up this Thursday and Friday in God's own country. Enjoy.
India Today
Conclave South's 5th edition once again salutes the power and reveres the potential of the 6 southern states of India. Power-packed with politicians, industrialists and a wide range of entertainers, musicians, dancers and painters. India Today Conclave South is being held for the first time in the capital of the southernmost state, God's own country. At Thiruvananthapuram on 1st and 2nd June, the event will celebrate the economic resurgence, artistic heritage and civic evangelism of the South, making it a must-attend event in the power calendar of the 6 states, including Puducherry. India Today Conclave South 2023 opens with an address by the Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan on the Kerala Way. Its uniqueness, its aspirations now that he has declared it as the first totally e-governed state. Former Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram is to do a stock-taking on the changing trends, issues and challenges in the polity.
They are governments which were stolen from the Congress party with the help of the governors. Tell me.
In the wake of the controversial film The Kerala Story, the All India Majlis-e-Ittehadul Muslimin chief Asaduddin Owaisi assesses whether or not communal polarization is a growing threat and how it impacts the Muslim identity. Ram Madhav, a member of the Board of Governors India Foundation, speaks about leveraging the Indian Ocean. From Tinseltown, veteran actor turned politician Kamal Haasan speaks on his never say die approach.
There is a reason why.
Rana Daggubati on how to break boundaries of language and geography to evolve as a pan-India star. And Sobita Dulepala, revealing the lessons learned from many languages and formats to be recognized as a bright star. On the expanding business environment, India's G20 Sherpa and former CEO Niti Aayog presents the prospects on the role of the southern state in the Make in India endeavor. Infosys co-founder Chris Gopalakrishnan analyzing the success and challenges of India's startup ecosystem. And India's space quest in the context of the new space policy 2023 and growing the space economy is to be unveiled by ISRO chairperson S. Somanath. This and more power-packed conversations and brainstorming sessions to reign in Kerala between 1st and 2nd June, so do not miss this 5th edition of India Today Conclave South.
The last time we spoke, I remember you had told me that you're waiting for someone to recognize the potential that you have as an actor to be able to pull off roles like this. And after that, of course, I saw you make some bold choices. But this, I think, will do what Scam did for Pratik Gandhi, you know, because, I mean, if I can make that comparison, because it was lovely to see you lead the show. Did it take a lot before the script even came to you to convince people that you can lead or you can be a protagonist in a show like this?
So how do I convince people if I've not got the chance?